favor, guidance, should I say, and to the Most High, and gratitude, big gratitude. So tonight we have, okay, so he speaks deeply around minerals and the body's natural, should I say, like design. You know, and what interests me, sort of with the mineral, should I say, is how it reflects the nervous system in terms of regulation. So with what I've delved into with certain practices and the foods, to me, it's, won't say it's all, but it's a big part of all what we are achieving to do to get our system more regulated. And then from that comes many more, I'm going to say, beautiful things. You know, all the time we're in fight or flight, then that projects outwards. That's your whole life is, let's just say, a reflection of that. So if we can get our nervous system regulated, you know, to me, that's such a beautiful start. And there's all these tools. So the living field, what is the living field? It's living, you know, like you could say spirit. There's many probably different interpretations you could use. Living foods, enzyme rich foods, you know. So, and us in our body living. So I'm not going to carry on too much. I'm just going to try and get on this clip. Just give us a few seconds when we work this one out. Meanwhile, I'll just carry on. So, yeah, I've been inspired to do this for a long time. I've held spaces for about 18 years at festivals with Simply Gorgeous, and held spaces groups with ice bath and saunas and juice fasting, dry fasting, etc. So I wanted to bring it more global, you know, and bring people in onto this platform so we can get our voice out there more, you know, so more people can realize, you know, hey, this guy's done 18 years on this. You know, you hear all these stories that, oh, you can't survive 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And generally they're the ones who, you know, for me, having this Jinshin Jiu-Jitsu to regulate my system, wow, it supported me going through these cravings, through the addiction of cooked food, and through many other addictions that we just take for granted. However, it's not really about me, so we are going to try and get YammTree on. Okay, we're having some little difficulties here. Just bear with us. Woo!
Yes, yes.
We have you on.
Greetings,
You know,
greetings. Let me see about
yeah. Greetings, greetings. It's beautiful to have you on. To have you on this platform, the Living Field platform, because you know I've seen you over the year, and it's, you know, what you're pumping out there, what you're putting out there. You know, it's alive, man. You're just trying to educate people as well. So it's
yeah.
beautiful to manifest this platform and manifest you on it.
Yeah. It's a pleasure, man, honestly. Seeing your work and seeing what you've done, and I was just tuning in to what you were saying then, and I was just laughing.
Mm.
Um People who doubt the doubt the living foods. It's
Mm.
like
Oh, yeah,
it's just so
this is
obvious, you know, it's so obvious. And for me, it's been piecing together over the years. And the direction for me has always been to get to the truth, get to the true healing food. So
mm,
it was only a matter of time before I found yourself, and every time you was posting, I was just like, yeah, okay, There needs to be, and every time I'm eating more living foods, more food in just their perfect natural state, how we're supposed to consume them, the more I feel good, you know.
And, you know, especially for being in England, I mean, I come across so many people that sustain it in other countries, and they're more fruits. And I can see why. There's the sun, there's the right, really enzyme-rich fruits. But in England, it's not that easy, you know, with the rain and the damp, you know. I mean, so we went more gourmet, you know. So quiches, pizzas, you know. So it's like still sustaining it and still not heavily compromising the body. So, you know, I really learned an art in terms of still comforting these emotional, say, programs and needs, however, not crashing, you know, not up, not coming up, you know, not sort of tired, not just, you know, more clarity, should I say, you know. What I'm good, what I want to do is, I'm just going to play this so people can hopefully listen and hear.
Yes, my people, my name's Abraham, also known as the Health Food Doctor. I'm founder of YammTree, and recently someone asked me what's my purpose, what's my mission in this life, which is hard to answer because I'm different things to different people. But first and foremost, I'm a father. In fact, my name, Abraham, actually means father. The true definition of father is the leader, the head, the authority, the protector, the teacher, the guide. And just like the father is the head of the house, the mind is the head of the body. It lets you know starts in the mind. The mind lets you know how much energy is in a food before you've even digested it. But the mind can't function without a healthy body. Did you know, boy?
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a start. So for all you viewers, that's you know, I mean, go and look at YammTree's Instagram. There's more information there. So, you know, what would you like to say about that, Abraham?
I'm just someone who's on the path of getting to the truth about healing food and becoming your own doctor and really taking ownership, really taking your power back when it comes to food and healing and getting over the things that we've been told for most of our lives. And you know, there's so much. Once I kind of discovered, because it was, for me, it was when I was in me like about 20. I know I was about 19, and then kind of having a one set mind of, oh, you need to eat meat every day. I didn't go one day without eating meat because I thought that's what you needed every single day. And it was eggs. I loved eggs, chicken. But apart from that, like, I was just sugar addict my whole life, from childhood, from birth to, I've even got teeth missing at the sides, and like from loads of fillings. I had both 3 teeth out by age like 12 or something, and it was just like,
Wow.
it was just constant, and I didn't understand food addiction. I didn't understand that it wasn't just a case of, oh, I really like this. I didn't understand how food really grips you and how really can take over your life. So when, even with identity, when I kind of discovered healing foods, and I discovered the likes of Dr. Sabi, Dr. Layla Africa, I've got a couple of others, but I was just researching at the time, and I was just like, okay, I never knew that. And or everything I've learned about disease, everything that learns about the body just having illness, and that's it for the rest of your life, you know, like the whole model around medicine and how it still runs today, that same model. But I was at 20 in uni, going out, drinking, you know, and smoking all the time. And at the time, I didn't really know. So it just created this like clash in my life. So when I was like going out drinking, going to festivals, and then when I was coming back, I was like getting on me spirulina smoothies, and it just created this like polarity, and I was just like, okay, like this doesn't even make sense what I'm doing, because I'm really just like poisoning my body to the point that I don't care. I'm just young, having fun, and then I'm going back and and I think the more you know, and I think this is the double-edged sword with knowing a lot. The more you know, the more responsibility you've got, was what I found. And then so I was really feeling it when I was damaging my body, and then also I felt like I had a real responsibility to share the information, to show people the truth. And then as I was showing people the truth and sharing the truth, I felt a real responsibility to embody that and to really just be an example and not just preach, but actually practice. And for me, it was from my mum. My mum, I say my mum had lupus. They've never technically say you haven't got it, but it was something that like, oh, you've got this for the rest of your life. So it was like, okay, this is something that, and then I was trying to tell my mum about different things. Oh, you need to stop eating that. You need to have more of this. And she's just like, well, what are you doing? And I'm just like, okay, I don't know, because I haven't got an illness. But really, it's like, we're not supposed to wait until we get illness before we start doing something about it, you know? And I think that was, for me, I was like, but at the same time, as much as I didn't have illness, I was definitely pre-diabetic. I had all the symptoms that like my granddad's got. He's got diabetes, of not being able to hold piss too long and needing. I had all them symptoms
Yeah,
of
wow. And that was around 20, yeah? Around 20, yeah. I mean,
yeah. Sorry, what were you
it's
saying?
it's crazy. No, it's crazy that, it's affecting the younger generation. So the genes are getting weaker and weaker, as we go down. And at the age of 20, and like you mentioned about the teeth, two teeth out around 12. I mean, I had lots of stories. I didn't have teeth out at that time. I mean, I had practically 18 amalgams in my mouth by the time I was 17. So constantly going back and forth. And unfortunately, especially in England, probably in many other countries, our parents and even schools, it would be beautiful if people were more educated, so we wasn't really kind of led down a path of just kind of acquiescing to the pharmaceutical, to the doctors, and like you say, being your own doctor. If the families knew that and just, knew natural remedies like they would have done back in the day, and I think even sometimes the grandparents, if you get them to really open up, they have so much wisdom. But
That's it.
there's been what I see as a bit of a systematic kind of program, whether it's on purpose or not, whatever. But
Yeah.
through the movies and
Mm-hmm.
films and advertisement and everything like that. So, but it's so beautiful because what you've come out of. Mine was very extreme. So you find most people coming out of these extreme conditions,
Yeah.
and it's an ongoing journey. It's
Yeah.
just, am I cured? What does that really mean? It's
Yeah.
like having amalgams in my mouth for let's just say 28 years, and
Yeah.
then in a heavy carcinogenic classic car bodywork welding environment, I was very heavily metaled up. When
Yeah.
I before 18 years ago, could just about string a sentence together, and I still trip over some words now. But hey ho. So on a level, I mean, it's like you. I wanted to tell everyone. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, mum, come on, sis, and things like that. But everyone has their own journey, and
Mm-hmm.
like you, I realized, especially realized now, it's like little voice Pete. It's for you to embody,
Yeah.
and then when you really embody it, then you don't feel such a need to be sharing it. You become the example. And there's a great line, all what you can do for me is keep working on yourself. All I can do for you is keep working on myself. Now, if we do that, and then we get to places like here to be able to share our journey to other people, which is
That's
a
it.
beautiful thing, rather than getting distracted
Yeah.
on a level trying to heal everyone else when we're not properly healed, or
Yeah.
not
That's it.
integrated.
100%, 100%, and it's just really embodying that thing of like, and this is where I've come to recently of being your own doctor, and that's why I started. So I started YammTree. I knew I was going to start YammTree around that time once I started healing myself. I knew that it was needed, that I needed to start. I love cooking food anyway, which was perfect. And I just love reading and reading books, and science was my thing, chemistry. So for me, it was
Awesome.
like
Yeah,
a
I'm still there.
merging of the two, to where it was just like I was able to do both, and yeah, I was doing YammTree, and I still do YammTree, but what happened was kind of like I was like I'm cooking food all the time, but I became more of a chef, which I really love, and
Mm.
people just wanted to eat the food, and I was moving away from my true passion, which was when they asked us as kids what you want to be when you grow up. I always wanted to be a doctor, I always wanted to be a doctor, and I think as I kind of was going through A levels, and this is where I didn't realize, because all the sugar was eating my brain,
Mm.
what I
Yeah.
was able to hold, the information, like, because I used to have like really almost like a photographic memory, like especially for numbers and equations. And then as I was going like 16, 17, my memory started like fading, and so maths became really hard for me. Biology was just like, so from there I kind of went into uni, done something that I didn't want to do. So medicine went out the picture, but it was always supposed to happen. It was always supposed to be that way, and I'm so grateful that it happened the way it did,
Mm.
because going down that medical field, and like what you said, it's set up, the system is set up to where, okay, especially now you've indoctrinated yourself with it to the point of like, and this isn't true for all doctors, but it's like, okay, this is how we treat people. This is what we do. We prescribe. We look. We see the body as vulnerable. We see the body as imperfect. It's not safe from all these conditions, and we downplay how amazing our bodies are, because the system's like that, and it's like, I'm so glad I didn't go down that route, because for me, going down the route that I went through was like focus on the minerals, focus on the food and how the food heals the body and how it's all connected. It was like, okay, because when we truly understand the power, the limitlessness of the
Okay.
body, like I
Cool.
don't even
That
think
sounds good,
we've,
Rick.
I don't got a little
But
zoom
carry
in
on.
your face there. Hello, I feel like you're staring into my soul right now.
My phone's doing some weird stuff, but go
Nice, bless you,
on.
man. But what I think, knowing that, it's like, wow, like the body can, because I don't even think we've truly, because I look at them like, we've got the pyramids, we've got all these great structures, and then people say aliens and that, but I think we ain't really touched the surface of what
Mm.
these human bodies can do, and I
Yeah, I
think,
mean, a lot is coming out. I mean, a lot is coming out, but it's
yeah,
like, okay, what is the true information there? For me, in many ways, so I really appreciate love your story. It's we be accountable. I'm not going to wait for, say, aliens, Jesus, or what. It's just like, well, just we be accountable. Let's just get on with it, because, you know, a lot of it may just be fallacy, but we just do not know. How do we know until we actually engage? And
yeah,
then it's all very, your experience is still objective to you, and mine is to me. So the more we share, we can share more information out there where people can, utilize and try for themselves.
yeah,
So, and some people find it really amazing. I'm on this podcast, amazing that some of our stories, they just can't get their head around it, in terms of whether it's drinking, smoking, and the ultimate self-abuse we've done on our bodies. And, not to kind of give it a hard time, it is what it is. I'm not going to shy away from that. In my teens, they nicknamed me Uffy. In French, it's kind of, or Earthy, is egg, because eggs. I used to have so many eggs, cooked omelets for my friends who'd come
yeah,
round, and and yeah, Big Mac and everything like that. But you know, we know what it is all about now. So I'm just going to not spend too much time there and just not do it, you know, and share, you know, as much positive information as I can. But be the example is the
Yeah,
matter thing.
I think so. Yeah, I think focus. I think the focus on the healing is, and the focus on the things that build up the body, because we can't focus on all the things that destroy the body. We can focus on, like, oh, you know what, this does this and this does that. And to be honest, the more I do share about things that attack the body, like, it does get more views on Instagram and
Mhm.
that, like, these things is like, oh, like, everyone loves a bit of negativity. you
Well,
know
you know, it's good because if you're doing, you know, the very thing that's attacking the body, and all of a sudden they're eating it and they're looking, seeing you put something
yeah,
out,
yeah, I'm like,
they get to question it. So I mean, I think
I
that's a great
know,
thing.
but
And
I
with
think, yeah, I think when we look at, like, even like when we just look at the minerals, so my big thing is the minerals, and I'm like,
that's right.
the more I'm looking at the minerals, I'm like, yeah, we don't know enough about these. And I get it, because there's a lot of fruitarians who say, you know what, just eat the foods and you don't have to worry. And I think that is true to some aspect of, like, as long as we eat the right foods, we don't really have to worry what's in it. But I
Mm,
think when we actually know what's in it, it's
mm,
like, for me, that unlocks something. I'm like, okay, if that's what's doing that for me, I'm
mm.
gonna eat. So I know. So I think this is what I'm saying about becoming your own doctor, because now you know exactly what food. And
Yeah.
I do trust in the herbs a lot. But I don't over trust in them, in the sense of I trust in the minerals more, because it's the original food, before
Mhm.
before we had a taste for any leaf, we would reach for the fruit, we would reach for the little seed, which has got a little lovely flavor to it. And we might have the aromatic herbs and stuff like that, which would be nice,
Mm,
but I think it's the fruits which really attract us. And the more we actually go to the foods that are the most attractive, the tastiest foods, I'm
mm.
like, these
You know,
foods are high in minerals, and they're so high in minerals that if we ate them on a consistent basis throughout our lives, disease cannot touch us. It's it really is
yeah.
that. It really is
And
that
then, you
simple.
know, when you think of the colors, they're so designed to get you, you know, the colors
Yeah,
of all the fruits, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So it's a clever design,
yeah.
you know,
Because
to be
even
honest. I
even
mean,
even the black, because even like I was looking recently, because I know where we talk about melanin, we talk about carbon, and we talk about, like, black, the ultimate black. And one thing that I put out a video a few weeks ago when I was talking about manganese. And what I was saying about manganese was that it's so important for the brain, so important for the heart. And one thing that I discovered recently about manganese was that when we're talking about, like, our ancient ancestors, when we're talking about the ancient Egyptians, they used manganese for the color black, because
mm,
although you could have used carbon, which is seen as the black, or melanin,
mm,
manganese was used for, like, painting on the walls to get that black that really stayed over time. And
mm.
when we actually look at manganese, where it is in the body, it's in the melanin. Wherever there's melanin in the body, there's manganese. So
Oh,
the highest concentration of manganese is in the pupil, is within the pupil of the eye. And
wow.
the more I see that, I'm just like, wow, okay, so there's been an emphasis on melanin, which is all good and well. And this is where, when I look at greats like Dr. Sabi, and even when I look at, like, Dr. Layla Africa, who are my teachers, they are speaking about melanin, about how being so amazing. But I
Especially
think,
Africa, Dr. Africa.
yeah, 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 and then Dr. Sabi kind of is like, they were almost in battle against each other, I think, but not really. But because Dr. Sabi was like, well, no, it's not melanin, it's carbon. And it's just like, well, carbon is there, but we're forgetting about the manganese, because the
Mm,
manganese is got, what makes manganese so great is it's got more oxidative, it's got the most oxidative states in the world
okay.
of any element. And I'm going to break down what I mean by oxidative state. So when we're talking about antioxidants, that means that it has the highest potential of antioxidants. It can neutralize billions of toxins, one manganese element, and it's just like, I'm like, wow, this is a hidden. It's almost like that hidden darkness that you don't really see, but it's
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
slightly,
concentrated.
sleight of hand on purpose, huh?
Yeah,
Focus on all other things. So what would you, in terms of what do you know in terms of, let's just say potential fruits or
yeah.
veg?
So it is the pine nuts, which is interesting again about the pine nuts. Can we talk about the pine cone? You
Pineal
know,
gland.
it's like it's amazing, and then also like akpi seeds, which I promote on the page as well. They're a nut native to kind of West Africa, Central Africa, that they use. They call them ginseng in Cameroon and in Ivory Coast. It's popular in some places in Dubai. It's quite popular as well. Dubai in UAE. Akpi seeds, and then there's another one which I believe, and there's a lot of nuts and seeds which don't, because they class, and this is where I wanted to get into with the minerals, because they class these minerals as trace minerals, as in the body doesn't need that much of them. It's like they're downplayed. So when they are doing their studies and everything else, you can't find much information because they're not usually testing. They're testing for things like zinc and iron and calcium, and they're not really testing for manganese. So it's hard to know what's really got a true amount. And it does depend on the soil as well. But the fruits and the fruit trees or the nut trees which have the deepest roots will have more
Almonds,
manganese.
pecans, yeah,
Yeah,
almonds,
they'll have
pecans,
manganese too.
from
Pine
what I
nuts tend to
remember.
be the highest, and then also these akpi seeds are really high in manganese as well. But other grains like ancient grains, fonio's got some manganese in as well. And it is the most important. It's needed for the most important antioxidants in the body, which is manganese superoxide dismutase. And this is why I try and connect the science to the point to where it's just one mineral. This mineral does this, and this mineral runs this system. Because for me, this is what I'm discovering. When everything else is working, and then we're deficient in this one mineral, it's not really working as it should be working. So for me, it always comes back to the mineral. And
Yeah,
then, yeah,
and
sorry, go on.
that's what I really like. When I was looking at some of your stuff, I really like that kind of equation and how your mind goes. And it
Yeah,
was really interesting in terms of seeing your journey over maybe a few strengths or a month that you're shifting kind of more to bringing in the live foods, live enzyme, more raw food.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then that takes you into enzymes, and then that's a whole nother package, which you could
100%.
say the minerals is more the structure,
Yeah,
and they're all great transitional um, paths, should I say? But they, it feels to me like the enzymes is the activator, the
yeah,
enzymes,
yeah, of
and we
course.
don't, so
Cause yeah, it is. It
and
really
the
is.
living.
Exactly, and it's like if we're looking at it a state of, okay, if we're bringing in the least amount of toxins and food which is already digesting in itself anyway, it's half digested. It's like
Yeah.
now when you eat that, it takes less minerals to
Mhm.
actually digest that food. You could just straight energy. It
Sure.
really is.
And then it comes down to a lot of equations I made when I was first on the journey, made 18 years, and I had this protocol as well as Jinshin Jitsu. First year I'd have cravings for the old paradigm,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I was, let's just say, very similar. I would be having, if my daughter was down, I'd have fish and chips about 3 or 4 times, in the 6 days, and 3 or 4 teas a day with 3 sugars in each one. So I thought my diet was quite, or live it was, well, it was a diet, was
yeah,
quite good back then. But cheesy
yeah,
pasta, this, that, and my salads were minute. I think I got a comment from you that you're having to kind of expand your salads because
yeah,
it's our programming, and that's it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like what we've got from our parents and
Mm-hmm.
surroundings. And again, you never see big salads on movies,
Oh,
or anywhere, do you?
I
It's
only ate
always
spinach.
fast food.
It was just spinach. That was the only thing because of Popeye. That was the
It was
only, that
what?
was the
Say again? Oh yeah, yeah,
spinach.
spinach,
That
spinach.
was the
You
only
know,
thing I ate as a kid. The only green I
wow.
ate was spinach. I would
Okay.
throw the broccoli in the bin every time, and
I mean,
spinach.
it's saying it all there, isn't it? Spinach, really, you know. But
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
never really made that connection, to be honest.
Yeah, no,
When
but
I look back, did
that's
I have
it.
any? I can't really. No, it was alien to me. Salads were alien.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That was
look
the
back.
only thing I would really tolerate, and it's like it is just like I speak on when I do me talks and me events. I speak about how we see as in our eyes, in our vision, we were able to see more shades of green than any other color. And so
Mm,
when people say, "Oh, you don't like salads," or we're not, it's like no, we if that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't be able to see so many different greens.
mm,
Otherwise, what purpose would it be to see more greens than any other color in the spectrum if greens weren't meant to be a big part of our,
mm.
because that's all it is. We are designed to pick food and to live in our bodies, whatever
Yeah,
that may come, and to look after our bodies. I think they're
sure.
the two things that we are here to do, you know. So
That's
I
it.
think
And you know, anyone who listens or gets to listen to this, you know, it's a journey. You know, I mean, it took me. I was about 45 to actually wake up to this. You know, I did groups when I was 17 for 2 years, and vegetarian was touched on, you know, and this was learning sort of breath work, astrology, kind of what would
yeah,
be equivalent to shadow work, constellation work. So I'm bringing it all in now,
yeah,
but they didn't touch the food. So,
mm,
you know, now over the 17, 18 years, it was just like, that was the missing link, you know, as
yeah,
well as a practice, you know. Some practice can be Qigong, it can be Tai Chi,
yeah,
yoga, that, you know, I had an awareness. So when I went back, I go back to having cravings. I'll do it could be meditation, whatever you find is helps you to release that. And I'll
yeah,
be taken back to different times, like seven, boom, in my mind, I'm seeing me in this trauma. So the cravings of that food, then
yeah,
it happened for 2, 3 years, and I still get the other bit now. So it
yeah,
made the equation that the foods that I was eating going back, because they're so messed up, really, wheat, white flour, white sugar, etc. And then if it's cheese and other things, it's just like putting a nuke bomb in your body. So that was sedating. That was keeping my body frazzled. So
yeah,
there I've gone on to cleaner foods. So all this stuff is coming up. I'm actually, it's like spirit is coming into my body. I'm coming, you know, more home. But how can we really be more present? How can we get our nervous system more regulated? But once you clear it out,
yeah,
the unregulated bits pop up, you know.
yeah.
So,
It
and
is.
Jenny, for me, so it was a different shock to our living field. Our living field, we could call it electric field, our body. So that's a big part that I see is missing. Really, if we're going to go on that journey, you're evoking to shift, to change. So
Yeah,
all what's in the way is going to come up. So some people say, "Oh, it didn't work for me. I had this, I had that." You're detoxing, you
yeah,
know,
exactly,
and you
exactly.
know your life. If you're fortunate, your life just is always a
Yeah,
smooth sailing. That's beautiful. But however, it's how we interpret the
yeah,
so-called bad, the pain, you
hmm,
know. And for me, I have no regrets of any of it. When people say I wouldn't change it for anything, I say I wouldn't change it, but I would not choose it again.
yeah,
You know, you like to think you learn from some of I won't even say mistakes, just learn from some of the experiences, you know. And, you know, I really aspire to be accountable, not to go into blame and guilt or anything. And if they come up, get in it and let it go, you know, as quick as you can. Tears, yeah, if
yeah,
it comes up, let it go. Why
mhm,
hang in that? You know, that's not our real state. That is not really us, you know. So that's
yeah.
all a part of the
And
clearing.
it is, and when you, especially when you're saying about the nervous system, and you said earlier at the start of the lab about like it's about all about regulating your nervous system, and what you just said then, it's just like being able to just like deal with things as they come and not be so, because it is like the nervous system runs everything, and I think the more we can actually just stay light within our consciousness, I think when our nervous system, because we are like the students and the teacher at the same time, so it's like when our nervous system does throw us a little something of like, okay, like if we're already dysregulated before we've even experienced it, it's like, okay, let me just go back to the comfort, let me go back to the craving of this
And
what I
then
used to crave.
that's it. And then we're in that loop. You know, you can't be the witness, you can't be the observer. So I mean, is it something like 70 trillion cells as well? Something like that. Is it 30 trillion to 70 trillion? A
I think
few
so.
people say different things. Imagine all them cells just like, you know, in fight or flight.
That's it. That's it.
How
And
you
it
see,
is. That's it. And this is
like,
this what takes me back to the minerals, and this is a common theme with me when I speak. I always go back to the minerals, because as I was discovering different minerals, I'm like, I'm looking at all the trace minerals, and I come across lithium, and I'm like, wow, okay, so if lithium is used in batteries now, and it's also because because people talk about cobalt in what's in the electric batteries, and they were talking about how Apple and Elon Musk the bad for taking all the cobalt in Congo, but they've actually transitioned away from cobalt, and they've actually started using more manganese, funny enough.
wow.
But one thing that's always in these batteries is lithium. And the reason why is because lithium is so light. So when you do have these fluctuations, like in the brains, different negative thoughts pop up, lithium can kind of come and balance it, because it is the lightest metal. So it's
Wow.
so it's the lightest charge carrier. So there's only two elements lighter than lithium, which is hydrogen and helium, and they're the two elements which make up the sun. So if you look at that, the next third lightest solid is lithium. So the more lithium we have in our brain, the more lithium we have in our nervous system, the more we can handle. And I've been going through a madness these past couple of years, and at times it's really just like really dysregulating me. But when I'm taking my lithium, I feel amazing. I feel good. I can handle things a lot better. Almost similar to how I feel when I'm in the sun, but I think more so. I used to be one of these people you said before about being in England and hacking England. For me, the food part I can hack, but it's the lack of sunlight, and every year it really gets me. And since I've been having the lithium, I'm like, oh, this regulates my nervous system the same way sunlight does. And then this is where it's all really, because all it's really it's light, so the more we can stay in that light. And it's funny because lithium, the first two letters in the element, Li, which is like light, and it is the lightest metal. But one thing that they've discovered is that the more lithium in your brain, the less chance of mental health issues, the less negative symptoms when it comes to autism, ADHD, depression, PTSD, all of these things which are centered around trauma, or that the cause is traumatic events. They find the more lithium in your body, the more you can overcome these traumatic mental disorders, and the more, not only that, the more you actually live longer. And that's what they've discovered, that higher rates of lithium in the drinking water, the longer the lifespan of the people living in that area.
It's like you're saying, Li light is sort of hidden in plain sight, isn't it?
It's
But, also, it's really nice how you educate, and what I share with people really, we did it subtly at festivals. We just brought, these beautiful foods, and, and people couldn't believe that's only 4 ingredients, like these so-called cheesecakes, or cashew and lemon, chocolate torts, apple pie, banoffee pies, all sorts, nearly everything you can think of, we can do, So it was so nice, without preaching, just them tasting, and then, many people it opened eyes for many people. You know, the big thing really why most people are ill is like, well, if we look at what we're putting in our body and then remove it, and then like we mentioned, we're putting in the good stuff as well. But even if we just removed 50% of it, it's just like, oh wow, we would be so much clearer, so much let's just say lighter, not in a loop. And then some people, why is my world like this? Why is my life like this? Why does that keep happening? Well, because, you know, subconsciously, you know, you're doing a ritual. It's like one step forward, two step backs, because you're going back to the old patterns. You know, like I mentioned, I didn't make the food equation until about 18 years ago. So, you know, literally ignorant to that. So it's really nice for people to realize this, you know, really look, educate themselves a little bit to see what they're putting in their bodies. And also what I realized over the time, it's like the grey, not having the sun is a massive one. You know, for me, coming in and out of England a few times and choosing to, but being in there for a good 15 years and then doing lots of saunas, ice baths first in the morning. So that was like a daily cleanse. But what I realized, summertime, when you got local fruits, beautiful, so they're rich and alive. You know, all the other time, it's, you know, it's difficult. So then you can see why the fruits aren't as alive, you know. Then you
Of
can see why
course.
dates maybe go a bit more acid. Why the fruits go a bit more sugary, you know, because,
Of
you know,
course.
then there's your problem, because they're not really activated and, you know, full of the living enzymes that they would have had with literally coming off the tree, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we go into the slow, and I can't remember whether here I think it was Dr. Enki, big up Dr. Enki. He spoke about when your body slows down and you're having quick digesting foods while the body's slowing down. So I said recently about, because grains, people keep talking about grains, and I'm waiting to I've been trying to sprout the bread, to do the bread out the cookbook, because that's my one thing I want to do, because bread for me was just, it still is, you know what I mean? But
For everyone, huh? For everyone. But
no, for real.
we yeah, like you've unraveled some things about wheat, but sprouted wheat berry, you know, I mean, it turns into wheatgrass, you know, so the sprouted wheat berry is really interesting. It's like, oh, actually, you know, wheat is kind of has a bad rep, but then in its processed state, yes, you know, but it's like in its living state. But to me, it's a great bridge. We wouldn't do it as a sustainable thing. It'd be, you know, because we love the association of bread, you know, love
Yeah,
doing
that's
different
it,
sandwiches and
100%. And I think it is just like, because it's like the grains just really get a bad rap. And I think when we are in the state of winter and everything else, I think these is where the grains come in. And then it's like, okay, because they are naturally designed to. And I was just looking about oats, for instance. I'm still yet to get them, but the oats that
oat
people
groats that
used to eat,
sprout.
but even the oats that people used to eat way back, they now feed to horses. So I'm like, for me, I'm just like, this is crazy, because we've come to the state where the foods that we used to eat so much, and they are tasted similar, but I think they've got higher enzymes, and they've got more fiber in, and they're called black oats. And I think they sell them in Norway or Iceland, one of these countries. And I'm still yet to try them. I'm gonna order them.
Yeah, wow.
But black oats, and I'm like, wow, there's so many ancient grains and so many ancient. And one thing that's happened over the years is that, because these grains have come to the point to where so many have been hybridized, people are just like, move away from grains altogether. But for me, I was focused on the ancient grains. So when I've started discovering what you're saying about the sprouting, and how everything needs to be sprouted and everything needs to be soaked, and doing it that way,
Just
I'm
like
like,
activated, yeah.
when it's like activating, I'm like, okay, this was the missing piece, because you can have your ancient foods all you want,
Mm.
If you're
And they're
covering
great.
every
They're
damn
a great bridge because you might get the
thing.
raw fruitarians looking now, and it's like, hey guys, you ain't got it. It's not about getting it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like about sharing. It's like not
That's it.
forgetting where we've come from and remembering. Do I do that all the time? No, I don't do all that all the time, but I do some of it, and we post a lot of it. Like we've done the big
Yeah,
full English raw
yeah,
vegan
that looks
ebook.
rough.
So,
Yes,
people saying, what are you doing, Pete? But it's bridging, if I
it
can get 10 people over or 50 or 100 people over from, you know, for their health and more for a better world in terms of the animals, other sentient beings, then,
is.
I've done my job. So,
Yeah.
I'll do that if it
And
means it.
like you say, we've probably always done this. You know, I seen one of your videos. We've
Yeah,
probably,
this is how it would have been. So
yeah,
you think about it. It's like, if you play smart, you would kind of potentially copy what's in the psyche already. It's like, using the 12 signs as
yeah,
12 disciples, and the
yeah,
many other sort of prophecies before Christ, or other, Christ conscious type people. So there's a platform being used after, again and again and again. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm sure there would have been healthy competition, like creating this different type of pate, looking like this, looking like that.
yeah.
So I personally think it's deep buried in our psyche.
Definitely, and especially going into the winter, and it's like when we are drying fruits and we are doing things to preserve things, and it's like,
Mm,
and it's changing the textures, and it's like, oh, okay, and it's just like when you're going on journeys or whatever else, and it's like these practices, it's like people look at them as like, oh, why am I gonna soak? Why am I gonna waste time soaking grain? Why am I gonna? And it's just like, and this is where I made the connection. My last video was like we water is such an essential part of our lives,
mm,
and this is what I say in the Yam Guide, because there's these things about, oh, I think there's a couple of people on the internet who say, oh, you shouldn't drink water, you don't need to drink water, and I'm like, well, if you just look at water as an essential part of nutrition, then there doesn't even need to be a question of whether I should drink water or not, because you would naturally be putting your food in water anyway. So water's always going to stay there. You'd put your seaweed in water, you'd put your grains in water, you'd put your seeds in water, and you'd have the high water fruits. So as long
mm,
as that's there, then it's cool. But when people are eating everything dried and eating everything crisp and crunchy and everything else, then it's like, okay, you definitely do need water. Like, don't listen, because
Yeah,
it is, and I think it depends where you are. But I think water is always going to be an essential part of our nutrition.
massive.
We are like
Yeah.
80% water. You know, it's
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the foods you eat, in terms of the more hydrated foods you eat, I mean, I remember about 8 years ago, a friend was around me for a while. He was 20 odd years in the raw vegan food, and he says, Pete, you don't drink any water. And I'm like, don't I? Oh, no, I don't really. But, I have a big juice and then a big smoothie and then have a big
yeah, yeah,
salad in the evening. So there's my water. I mean, people talk about, I think it's Iris Laffan, he gets it from the coconut and the
yeah.
melon. And yeah, and I would if I was living in the
Yo,
Bahamas and I had all that. I
yo,
mean,
I wish. Look, when I was in Brazil, I was coconut water was daily, and
yeah,
even they
beautiful.
put all fluoride in their bottled water as well. So I was just like, yeah, coconut water was on the daily. But I think here I'm just like, listen, coconuts, they're not coming cheap for me to be
No.
drinking. Yeah, especially if I want to
Oh
have them
no.
fresh, like it's crazy,
Yeah,
you know.
there was a stage where I did buy some boxes. I had about 2 boxes each strength, should I say?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I think some people would laugh at this. It's like I'd be coming out the sauna, see, so guys, hey, I'm making my subconscious making out I'm in the Bahamas. I'd have my cocoa out of the sauna, so the body's thinking it's in some tropical country. But anyway, but in terms of having it flown over out of season, yeah, it's not the best thing to do. But for me, it's like some compromise, and everyone's unique to their own. I've come across people, I'm doing it strict like this, and they not last 2 months.
Yeah.
Or, oh, why mess around? Let's just go straight to fruit. from a cooked, and it's just like, and they fail within a month. It's just like, you know, your body, if you go too quick, your body's going to be purging out the toxins quicker. So it's wise to go slower, you know. And then, you know, someone to kind of, you know, let's just say, sort of advise you and assess where you're at really from their own experience is very wise. And like you say, you know, from your experience as well. But what I do realize, on a level, us doing it in England, it's like we need to pat ourselves on the back, you know,
that is
because
100%.
you know I was in St. Lucia and a few years ago, and there was a friend's dad there, and he was doing a bit of a reset there, and then he was having some great chats, and he mentioned, he says, I'm listening to his chats, and it's like, wow, you're quite a mark, man. You know, you've done some beautiful stuff. And then he says, well, he looked at me, he says, yeah, but you are. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He says, to do that in England, you know, where we've got all the foods and we've got all this, it's like to do that in England. And it's like, yeah, I kind of got it. So, you know, on a level, we've been in the battlefield. So we've got the experience of being in that battlefield, you know, grey skies, not the best fruits. How do we navigate? What other protocols have we got to kind of keep sane in a quite insane reality, you know?
Yeah, I know. And I think, depending on where you are in the country, I think the mineral content of the soil is generally lower. All these things you're battling, and I think the no sunlight. For me, what I do, I use a UV light, so I use a UV bulb to deal with it. If not, then I'm like, because I tested that to see if it works. Again, big up Dr. Enki, was the one that really spread light to that. And he was talking about like all of his lights in his house, so he uses UV bulb, and people are like, where you get UV bulb? I'm like, well, you give them when you get a lizard or when you get a snake. You know, you say use the UV bulb to stop it from, and that's what I do. And I'm just like, you can get them fairly cheap, or you can go to the hospital or get one that's medical approved.
Yeah, infrared. We because we play around with the saunas, we had 4 infrared lamps, and we had to have it above our bed. So we've had infrared lamps for about 4 years, 5, 6 years, you know, and they were on a lot of time, you know, and even with our daughter. So it's just, you know, it's warm and it's comforting, and obviously the color as well, you know. So
That's
it's
it.
so I mean, in terms of, so for, you know, people watching, what I would like to share anyway, within the Jin Shin Jitsu world, in terms of helping resetting the nervous system, or even before food, you know, a bit like in homeopathy, should I say, homeopathy,
Yeah.
rescue remedy. So it's like you cross your hands under the collarbone. So that resets, that helps you to, let's just say, be more present, resets before food. You could say opens up the gates, calms your nervous system down, you know? So that's a beautiful one. I've been using my Jinshin more because I'm away and not being able to do the saunas and other protocols. So in comes the Jinshin and a bit of, you know, stretching and fascia work and stuff like that. So it's good to have a little, you know, tool bag of different protocols,
Definitely.
you know, and
it is important, because even when we talk about like detoxing, when we're talking about different things, cleansing the body, it's like movements and like proper movements of the body and connection with the body is like, that is the perfect lymphatic tool you could use, you know, that. And
I've only made that, I've just made that connection in terms of more the fascia. You know, I look back, I've done, 15, a little bit of boxing, then 24 Aikido, then 30, at the age of 30 karate, then Qigong around 40, and yoga actually around 60. Exercises, and I just took it for granted. So I just want to get on with it. What exercises I realised, it's like, oh my, it's like all its life. It's like, oh, okay, they're sort of seizing up. So it's really been beautiful. It's been quite an epiphany for me, because I had a story for a few. It's like, right, I'm not really going to do any sort of physical training. I mean, I'm quite physical, chopping wood, carrying pallets and things like that. But I've now made the connection. Okay, I've got to the root. It's the fascia. So I'm going to get the lubrication going, and then I can, move from there. There's no point in building on unsolid foundations, So that's been beautiful, You're going to be starting up a group. You were saying you mentioned.
So the Health Food Doctor Academy, to learn about the connection between health and food, and to essentially, well, not just essentially, actually become your own doctor. Because I think what I was saying was, like, until we make that leap, until we decide for ourselves, okay, I'm going to take, because this is what this system is relying on, us not taking action, not taking responsibility. So until we decide to make that, okay, I'm going to decide how healthy I am. When we make that leap, the whole medical system fails, because when we become that, and a doctor, that I was saying, like, being a doctor is really what it meant was teacher. Doctor meant teacher, and then it started getting used for just medical doctor. But to be a teacher is to be a student. So now it just becomes easier. We don't have to think of it of, how am I going to become my own doctor when I don't even know what to do when I get a headache? But it's like, well, you know how to study, you know how to observe, you know how to be like, okay, I got a headache after I done this. And so the more we do this, the more we see those connections, the more we take responsibility and don't numb and don't think, let me just take a paracetamol, it must be this. And it's so easy to be like, oh, it must be this and the poison on us here and the poison on there. And it's like, but what are we doing to ensure we're healthy? And I think that's what the Health Food Doctor Academy is. We're going to do weekly labs, teachings.
Beautiful.
And then just going to have like exclusive content.
Great. So, go to YammTree's Instagram. You'll have it on there. And, we're doing a similar thing. We're setting up different WhatsApp groups. We're going to be doing a 21-day raw food reset. I've got these flybys on, but that's going to be on the equinox.
Okay.
And to support people on that journey.
I'm getting involved in that because I've been on the raw foods. I've had cooked foods a couple of times, but like you say, it's the transition. It's not the extreme.
Everyone don't, just even if you're bringing in a little bit of fruit, and it's just stepping stones. We shouldn't give ourselves a hard time, It's for me it was just youngest of 6, so it was like, and a few siblings passed away and mum passed away, and then I was 28 when my eldest sister passed at 33. So sort of just looking back, distraught at the time, and then in my 40s making connecting some dots, So in terms of if your early childhood has been a bit unsettling, then we, the sugars like you mentioned and different things, we're constantly sedating the pain, So, the pharmaceutical, whatever it is, it's just a Band-Aid. So, for me, it's just like, well, come on, people, that served its purpose. Let's wake up. Let's be accountable. Let's be responsible. Let's, really get back into life, get back into living, and being able to be that child, of the spontaneity and the creativity and, and so it's beautiful. We're doing a few groups, and we, like you mentioned, our ebook you got which is really nice to see, and that you're experimenting, making some things.
Man, definitely.
So,
I'm gonna be.
We are actually doing more online stuff to share, And I've never really been about the so-called money exchange, but it's getting exchange so we can carry on the work and share with more people.
It's so important. It's so important the work you're doing, and more honor, more respect, more power to what you're doing, because you're really leading the way for us in the UK, and Living Food is epitome, you know. And I think when we can go through the stages of cutting out meat, cutting out processed foods and that, when we go back to the food in its natural state, we will feel the healthiest. I felt the healthiest since I've been doing the living food, since I've been doing the raw foods. Like I said, I always used to have smoothies anyway. Always used to love just doing a little smoothie bowl. That was my thing anyway. And I thought it was just convenient. And this is the thing about it. It's like, it becomes so convenient. It becomes so easy. It's like, oh, I don't even have to cook. Like, I don't have to scrape pans. Like, and the sauces,
like,
the sauces taste even more flavorful. Like we cook down sauces thinking that, oh, we'll cook it to make it. Like, when you don't cook the sauces, they become more potent and flavorful, and the flavors are just, it's just like, it's just, for me,
that brings me back to
the
that brings me back to the very first falafel I did, raw falafel.
Yeah.
So I used to buy these falafels, you know, vegetarian and vegan falafel. And when I made my first ever falafel, it's just like, oh my gosh, it was just epic, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, you're really getting to the first-hand experience of the flavors, especially if you're using fresh herbs as well. You know, I mean, you're getting your herbs, whether it's the parsley, coriander, you know, whatever. You know, you can get even more adventurous. I mean, we've actually got a cracker ebook where we played around with, you know, certain, whether it's rosemary in the crackers for the heart, and we actually got a parasite buster cracker. You know, using a bit of wormwood, using what else is in there? Playing around with potential pumpkin seeds.
I'm getting my girlfriend on them because she's a cracker girl. She's like, she loves the crackers. So you know,
if you're having more dehydrated, have more hydrated foods, you know. But at least it's a great step, and you're making it. You know what's in it, you know, and we go from there. So, what would you like to leave people with? we should wrap it up.
To wrap it up, I would say to remember that food can be your tastiest medicine, or it can be your most addictive poison. And I think when we make the choice of actually making it tasty, it's like health tastes good, you know, and we've got to get past the spell of like, oh, if it's going to be healthy, I'm going to have to compromise in some way. It's like, no, it's designed that way for us to go towards it. And it's like, when we can realize that, it's like, oh, okay, it's ease is ease, you know. You know, this ease
once
is
once you get over the hurdles and realize, you know, once again, the movies, the pop stars, it's endemic in terms of the programming that's gone in. So there's a real discipline to go through it. But the other thing is, you know, be prepared to look up, be prepared for changes if you're going to do it. You know, if you really want to change, you know. So then it is quite simple made complex, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah, it is. Half of the battle is in the mind of actually getting rid of the programming, that it's so hard, that it's going to be such a sacrifice, that it's going to be, but it's like, no, it's like, we can have.
I mean, the foods we've had is just is off the scale, you know, what we make. To the point it becomes dangerous that I have too many cakes hanging around, you know.
You know,
or whatever it is.
You're like, someone's gonna eat it all, you know. It is, but no, I'm really big power to you, and yeah, man. If anyone wants to come and check out what we're doing over there and seeing the transition over to more raw foods and learning more about the foods, I'm gonna be dropping videos more so, and doing the lives every Wednesday as well. So. So big up. I appreciate you.
Beautiful. What's both of our spaces. And it's been so beautiful over the last 6 years with my partner. You know, it's like sometimes we're fighting to get in the kitchen first to do different creations. So
big ups to your partner. Big ups.
It has really
providing that balance. I think big ups, because it's so much rewarding when you've got someone on your team doing it and so passionate about it, just as you are. So big ups to your family.
Beautiful. We did, maybe we could have a few minutes of questions. I mean, if anyone wants to I mean, but someone just said, great live stream, love this sort of thing, absolutely essential information. So thank you.
Big up.
And I don't know if I've missed some.
Thomas Beatty said, love animals, and big up to the animals, big up to the animals, because really, like, for me, I do focus on the science, and I do focus on what it's doing for the human body, but I think the biggest benefit is clearing away that karmic debt of death, and,
I mean,
if
I go into that one, I'm going to be here another hour.
Yeah, no, it
I mean,
is.
my dreams shifted, my whole reality shifted. My dreams were less messier, less traumatic, less fight or flight. And this was coming off we were energy beings. See, this is where we're going to another level, and, a more pure essence of us, natural law can't come into something body, and it would be, let's just say, it just doesn't work, in terms of, you could say, quantum physics or what we attract. So, and if it, so hence some people fast track these experiences, and they share beautiful experiences, but have they really done the journey? Is their the biological body actually done the change? Generally not, Are they root strong in that experience that they've just experienced? Can their system, integrate that, regulate that? And I've seen so many people not. So it's really strong. It's good to have the strong roots. It's really good to have systems, protocols, and support in many ways if you really want to go on this journey. And beautiful thing is, some people just do it for the food, but I'm not going to bang on about the animals, but I do here and there. I mean, look, I don't need to do that. Just by example. If we all did that, it's like there wouldn't be all this internal war, which is of the outside war, which is our internal, So we wouldn't be, if we're not doing harm to ourselves, we wouldn't even dream of thinking of harming anyone, because you're harming yourself, Same with the sentient things, And to add, the fasting, intermittent fasting, I'll just quickly add, is amazing protocol. The leaps and bounds I've achieved through doing that, but again, it's gradually, a little bit here and there.
And I do think, just to add on to that, it was coming to me, I think last month, like, about sacrifice, and that is like, I think that is the sacrifice, like, because I think the animal became the sacrifice of, like, let's just go. I think the behavior switch, let me give up this behavior of gluttony or whatever it is, was the original sacrifice. So what we've done with the animals is, like, we've kind of tried to, which a lot of religions still do today, is try and use the animals. But even if you look at the voodoo religion, they still say the behavior change, I'm gonna give up this behavior, is stronger than any animal sacrifice, and people don't see the energetic exchange they're getting into when they sacrifice these animals every single day. It's more than what people are realizing. So big up to the animals, man.
It's deep, I mean, and even if it isn't deep, just you just monitor yourself when you come off, really. Monitor your daily life. Of course, it's going to take time, and if you do more deeper cleanses, there's going to be still debris really in there. There's stories still in your let's just say from clonics. People have stuff in there for many, many years. So so it's not an easy journey. And then obviously any types of stagnation and things like that, then comes the parasites, etc., and that's another whole story. So let's if we get the lymphatic system moving, our energetic system moving by putting good living foods, and it's just going to naturally clear out the terrain.
That's it. So, I always say to people, like, I'm gonna start next week. I'm like, yo, just focus on what you're eating next. Like, your next meal, just make it a bit healthier and start there, because we can all make, and if we can just look at it, it's so simple as just your plate of food. What are you having for dinner? I think you can really just, it becomes, it's not as such a heavy, big change of, oh, I need to do this whole thing.
No.
It's like, let me just make that a little bit healthier. Let me add a few sprouts on there.
Well,
Let me cook it less.
and then,
And
yeah, and then you know, you realize we are addicted. You know, we have lots of addictive behaviors. You know,
yeah,
and the emotional connection with the food where it supported us to a journey. So not this and it. You know, I mean, it's just we need to kind of wise to kind of wake up. Let's just say I woke up, it's just like, oh, okay, that supported me then.
yeah,
But now I'm old enough, wise enough to kind of put it together. I don't need that anymore, you know?
yeah,
It's just this time to nurture, time to work out them things that most of us are subjected to from life, you know? So our body has to cope, you know, it has to still survive. So, you know, it has different mechanisms going on so we can survive. But later, like now, come on, everybody, let's get on with it, you know, and come back into our body, come back, bring that child in. You know, they say you can't go back through the gates of heaven until you become childlike. I mean, come on, it's all there. But
yeah, yeah, for real.
I'll
Big
leave
up.
you with the last word, man.
Yeah,
God,
man.
last sentence.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. And yeah, I look forward to next Sunday. I'll be watching and tuning in, and
Okay,
I encourage everyone to do the same. So big up, man.
beautiful. And thanks everyone for watching, or whoever gets to watch this. Yeah, give it a go. You know, bring in a few little bits here and there. I'm sure there's quite a lot of information we've shared here. So, thank you everybody. Thank you, YammTree.
Blessings.
Awesome, Adrian.
See you, must be.
Have a great day. Bye.
Take care. You too. Yeah. Blessings.
Yeah.